Good morning. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you're here. All right, so let's get started. So my name is Leah Branku. I am an exercise and nutrition specialist, and I focus on helping women, develop a healthy lifestyle with exercise and nutrition, but also being able to live a happy and healthy life with their families, with their friends, being able to enjoy social times, not focusing on restrictive diets. I don't focus on giving them something that they have to cut all these things out or following fad diets. It's about implementing exercise and nutrition into your daily lifestyle. So today we're going to talk about carbs and carb cycling. This is something that I've attempted before, and it's something that I've really been focusing on recently and studying and testing out to see how it's going to affect our bodies, our fat stores, and to help us break through the plateau. And I want to tell you that it has been an amazing plan for me, and I'm excited to share this with all of you. So carb cycling basically is just a manipulation of your carbs, your carb consumption that's going to benefit you. So too often I hear clients telling me about eating low carbs, not eating any carbs. And the matter of the fact is that our bodies need carbs in order to fuel our muscles to do the things we need to do. Even just everyday activities, we need carbs, and we need the glucose from the carbs to help fuel our bodies to be in motion, especially if we're exercising. We definitely need carbs. If you are exercising and you're doing a lot of exercise, cutting carbs is not the way that you're going to lose weight. You may see a change in the beginning, but then you're going to hit a really hard stop and you're going to plateau, and it's going to be really hard for you to break the cycle. And you might actually start gaining weight. So carb cycling just gives you an opportunity to manipulate the carbs to benefit you, to keep your metabolism thinking, to keep it on its toes, and to help benefit you for the fat loss, because that is ultimately what we want. The majority of the people that I work with are focusing on fat loss. We want to burn the fat. And unfortunately, we have so many processed foods out there. We have so much junk that it's hard to feel like you're eating an adequate diet. I hate that word, but eating an adequate diet in order to benefit your body. So what we do is, something that I saw, I want to show you this. So something that I saw from a training, it really just clicked about how our metabolism works. So I don't have different colored fingers, but I wanted to show you. The top is going to be your metabolism. The bottom is going to be your calorie deficit. So when you're going through, a diet, you're going to drop your calories, and you're going to go along. So this is your metabolism going along, and it's eventually going to come and meet up. You see the tension on the band, and then at some point it's no longer tight. So then it's just going to go across. That's where you get your plateau. But if you're taking your carbs and you're cycling them, so you have the calorie deficit, you're changing your carbs, then all of a sudden you switch it up and you bring your carbs up. You increase your carbs, you increase your calories, and then you switch it again. Your metabolism is constantly trying to figure out what it's doing, and it's going to allow you an opportunity to burn what you need to burn, which is fat, instead of utilizing the glycogen stores that we have put in and burning carbs, because essentially that's, glycogen, or the glucose, is mainly coming from carbs. So allowing you to actually burn the fat that we need. So releasing the fat from your midsection, your legs, your arms. It's not just going to be your belly. The first places that I noticed it were my legs and my arms and my back. The belly is always the last one to go. It's the most stubborn, but it does happen, and you notice it right away. You actually feel the difference immediately when you start carb cycling. So basically, there's a strategic plan, and there's many different ways that you can approach this. The way that I approach it is incorporating some low carb days and some high carb days. And what we do is we strategically cycle those utilizing your macros and your calories. So you have to understand, what are the right macros for you to eat? What is the right amount of calories for you to eat? We have an increase in calories, we have a decrease in calories, and a change in your macros when you are going on low carb days and high carb days. And basically, you'll have a set amount of low carb days. And what we're doing during those days is we are focusing on depleting your glycogen stores so we can focus on allowing your body to burn the fat so you can start to see results. Because if you are constantly eating carbs, and the thing is, we're not just eating carbs, we're not eating the right amount of carbs. We're not eating the right carbs. It's not just that we're not eating the right amount, we're just not eating the right type of carbs. Something to consider, to remember, is food falls into one of three categories. It's either a carbohydrate, a protein, or a fat. That's it. So you don't have veggies. I mean, you do have veggies, but most veggies are carbs and very dense in carbs. Fruits are very dense in carbs. You have some veggies that are dense in proteins. You have your meats that are proteins. You have your healthy fats like avocado, nuts and seeds and different things like that, butters. So understanding that you cannot just cut out carbs 100%, you are lowering the amount of carbs you're taking in, reducing starchy carbs, maybe reducing your fruit one day, or eliminating fruit and starchy carbs to help you focus on depleting your glycogen stores so that way you can burn more fat. So you have your low carb days and you'll have your high carb days where once you have depleted your glycogen stores, we go back and we increase it. That way your body can burn the fuel for fat, but also utilize those carbs and that glycogen that you are taking in to fuel your muscles, to build them, to repair them, to do what it needs to do instead of storing it. Because when you have too much of something, what's going to happen? It's going to end up storing it. And that is exactly where we do not want to be. We want to make sure that we are not storing the fat, that we are not holding on to it. And this is the number one problem that most women come to me with is, I want to lose fat. I want to lose the weight around my belly or around here, my arms. And it's because we are eating too much processed foods. We are not eating the right types of foods. And then we decide to go on this super restrictive diet, whether it's our calories or cutting out fats or cutting out carbs. And we just don't do ourselves any justice, and we're not helping our bodies. So this is where having the opportunity to eat carbs and cycle them will be beneficial. But not only that, we are not focusing on a low calorie diet. We aren't eating 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories a day. Some of us are eating 16, 18, 1,900 calories a day. And then on a high carb day, you're increasing that calorie intake because you're taking in carbs. So we aren't starving ourselves here. We are just strategically planning how we are going to focus on fueling our body. So something to think about is when we're on high carb days, we're going to be stimulating an insulin response to focus on allowing the nutrients to go to the muscles. So instead of just floating around, the insulin floating around in our body, we are going to allow it to go into our muscles to do what it needs to do, to restore it, to strengthen it, to make it stronger. And we need this in our bodies so we aren't gaining more weight. I mean, at the bottom line, at the end of the day, it's about gaining weight or not gaining weight. And we want to focus on not gaining weight. I mean, plain and simple. And so when we do our low carb days and our high carb days, I do strategically plan them out for the ladies in my carb cycling program. I take into consideration everybody's body types. I take into consideration your weight, your body type, and I also check in. We do check-ins to where I see how you're feeling, how things are working, because maybe something that I've set is not working, so we need to adjust it very lightly for you. So this is where taking your own personal body composition comes into account, because you need to know what is working. We are all very different. We are all very unique, and we function very differently. So what may work for me may not work for somebody else. What may work for you may not work for her. So it's all about finding the right plan that works for someone. And the nice thing I like about carb cycling is it allows you an opportunity to manipulate the way you're taking in food on specific days without feeling deprived, without feeling restricted, but also getting the opportunity to see how your body feels. Because you'll notice, we will have specific workout plans that go with each specific day in order to benefit you. So now, you kind of got a good feel about the carb cycling and why we do it and the specific days. I want to talk about, the exercise. A lot of the times and for me personally, like a lot of us are over exercising. I talk to some people that work out 2-3 hours a day. Maybe they do a boot camp and then they go to a spin class and then they go do some weights, or they are going to a Zumba class and then they go do a kickboxing class. So they're doing these long amounts of workouts and still not seeing results. And then we have the other opposite of the spectrum, people that just aren't working out because they don't know what to do. And you're not going to see results because you're not moving. The bottom line is we have to move. In order to lose weight, in order to feel good, to build our muscles, we have to move. It's all about moving. Now, it is about calories in and calories out and having a good calorie balance. And it is about eating less and moving more, in a sense. But my focus with carb cycling is eating more and moving less, because most of the women that I talk to or that I work with are over exercising. You're doing way too much cardio, not enough strength training, or just not doing it right to benefit your body. So when we have high carb days, we are focusing on strength training, doing exercises that are going to utilize the glycogen that you are bringing in. We need to build our muscles, and the easiest way to do it is by lifting weights. So we do strength training, body weight exercises on these days, resistance training or HIIT training. So we do stuff where we are engaging our muscles. So strength training, resistance training with a little bit of HIIT training, high intensity interval training. And if you're not having a lot of carbs, so on a low carb day, we focus more on like sprint intervals. So some quick, high intensity interval training workouts that are short, sweet, and to the point. Most of my workout plans are no more than 30 minutes. I don't expect people to be working out for hours upon hours. We just don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of time. We're all busy. We have things to do. And why do we want to keep putting our body under stress of exercising and working out when it's not working? Most people think, okay, I'm not losing weight, I need to exercise even more. And that is just not the problem. With me, I started over exercising, and that actually causes a negative response in your body. A whole different topic, but at the end of the day, my thyroid was freaking out because I was working out too much. I was going into adrenal fatigue. And with that, my cortisol levels were through the roof, because cardio or exercise is a form of stress. It makes your cortisol increase, and cortisol creates belly fat. So I was, over exercising, teaching 2 or 3 classes a day, and then exercising on top of that. So I was exercising anywhere from 3, 4, maybe 5 hours a day. And I was under eating. Once I started actually journaling and cataloging my food, I was eating about 1,200 calories a day, which is not enough. I mean, I felt like I was eating a lot, but I really realized that I wasn't eating enough. I wasn't restricting or depriving myself of a specific macronutrient, but I just wasn't eating enough for my body. So my body was freaking out, and it was holding on to everything that it has, because that's what it does. It will take care of itself. If you aren't going to do it for it, it's going to do what it needs to do. So I started gaining weight, and the place that I started gaining weight first was in my stomach, and then in my arms and my back. And I mean, it was just everywhere. I couldn't figure out how to break through this. So changing the way that I exercise and strategically planning my workouts according to how I'm eating has been super beneficial. So I'm still teaching group exercise classes, but now I get to eat more. So it's all about eating more and moving less. So most of the people that I work with are not exercise professionals or teaching group exercise classes. So it's easy for you to figure out your workout plan, to figure out your eating plan, if you have that all figured out. And just working out 30 minutes a day. I mean, how amazing is it to just have that small window that you can focus on exercise, and then you have the rest of your time to enjoy time with your family, with your friends, you know, doing things that you enjoy, relaxing, getting a pedicure, you know, doing the girly things that we like to do. So at the end of the day, carb cycling has been, it is a strategic way of manipulating your food. And at the bottom of the line, it's just about low carb days and high carb days. It's not as simple as people think. Like, you can't just go out and say, okay, I'm going to go and not eat carbs today and then eat carbs tomorrow. You have to know, you know, you have to understand how your body responds. And I focus on counting our calories and focus on macros. So we do have a calorie set base where we eat, you know, I want you to reach this caloric amount. But we're really focusing on our macros, eating the right percentages of carbs, fats, and proteins to benefit our body for more fat loss. So in my programs, I have been having the ladies keep track of their macros, food journaling. And the reason why we journal our food is because we need to know what we're eating. Sometimes we think we're eating healthy, or sometimes we think we are eating a specific way. And then once we actually write it down and look at it, you realize either you're overeating something, undereating something, or maybe just not getting in enough of something. So it's very eye-opening. I can tell you personally, all of my clients do it. Everyone food journals. I even do it. I didn't used to do it before. And it was really eye-opening to see what I was missing. I was eating a lot of protein, not enough carbs, which I thought I was eating a lot of carbs, but not enough. And it just allowed me to see how I need to portion out my foods and my meals throughout the day. So food journaling is super important and very beneficial. And honestly, carb cycling has given me way more energy. Like, I feel so much more energized, and all the ladies in my boot camps or my carb cycling programs feel amazing. They love that they're not restricting themselves. We get to eat pancakes. We get to eat oatmeal. You know, everything we eat is we don't eat processed foods. Everything is whole, homemade. We do have an opportunity to go out and enjoy ourselves. We've had brunch, we've had dates out, and not feeling like I can't eat this, or, you know, I shouldn't be eating this and feeling guilty. It's about incorporating this into your lifestyle. So we have more energy. A lot of them are feeling better about eating and knowing this is something that they can do long term. So this is a lifestyle that they can continue on with once they've completed the program. A lot of them are getting to eat the foods that they love. Like, the first thing people thought was, oh, another diet, I'm going to have to cut out X, Y, and Z. And no, we're not cutting things out. The only thing we do cut out is processed foods. We refrain from eating dairy and gluten, just because those two things are so beneficial to remove from your diet, to see how there's a lot of stuff with them about how they cause inflammation in your body, and they're just not good for us. I talk about that more in my programs, but it does give you an opportunity to eliminate them for a few weeks and see how your body responds. People are reporting, you know, more energy with not having it, no more bloating, like immediately noticing their stomach isn't bloated and distended anymore. Also, their skin is clearing up. I mean, there's just so many different things that people are noticing when they've reduced or they've eliminated dairy and gluten. And that's something that I do encourage. I highly recommend it for the duration of the plan. However, it's not required, but there are a few things that are required in the program. And then a lot of people are noticing their muscle definition. This was one of the biggest things is, you know, we seem to work out. We don't see that definition in our body, in our legs or in our arms. And because we are burning the fat from everywhere, not just our bellies, we start to see more muscle definition, which is great. I mean, who doesn't want to walk around in their shorts and have their, you know, their leg muscles popping out? Or, you know, you don't want to have huge muscles, but just to be able to see the definition and know that the work that you're doing is paying off is huge. It's amazing. So before we go, I wanted to see if anybody had any questions. There's an alarm going on outside my house, so I think I'm going to have to cut the questions right now. Thank you so much for being on this webinar with me. I really appreciate you joining us. And if you have questions, email me. So what I'm doing is we're setting up some consultation calls. Let's do some individual one-on-ones. I want you to share with me your goals. I want you to share with me what it is that you're trying to reach and any specific individual questions you may have about carb cycling. I am starting my next program on, let me get my calendar just to make sure. May 16th is going to be the next one. And if you set up a consultation call with me, I actually have an offer that I am offering for anyone that sets it up by this next week. So email me. I will put a link I will send you a link so where you can set up a call with me and we can talk about your goals. We can talk about or answer any questions that you may have specifically with carb cycling and your body. One thing I do recommend is always checking with your doctor before you commit to any type of program. If you're struggling with any sort of diabetes or just any sort of medical issue where, reducing any type of food can be, not detrimental, but can affect your body. It's something that you need to discuss with your doctor before taking on my plan. But I promise you, manipulating your carbs and following a program like this, you will love how you feel. You'll love the results that you're seeing. You'll feel confident again. And that's one of the biggest things that I know is super important for me, to feel confident in front of my husband, to feel confident with myself, not running across the mirror before I'm about to take a shower because I don't want to see myself. We have to look at ourselves, and you want to feel comfortable and confident enough to look at yourself every day. It's something that I feel that is super important, and feeling confident in front of your significant other is super important. And getting compliments for me, getting compliments from my husband about the changes that he sees, and feeling a peak and improvement in my hormones, it's really phenomenal. It's amazing. And this is well worth it for me. And this is the lifestyle that I'm going to continue on from here on out, just because it's something that I can do every single day and that I can implement. I can still go out to eat and have a good time. I can still socialize with friends. I'm not restricted at all. So I look forward to setting up consultation calls with you. My website, I will send you the information so that way you have that to set up the call, and we can get you set up in my May carb cycling program. Y'all have a good afternoon.